We've all been there, right? You're at a birthday party, you're at a friend's gathering, you're at a holiday party, and your child has a meltdown. Not the little kind of meltdown where you can kind of easily calm them down and get things back together and then continue on with the party. The big meltdown where you eventually have to make the decision to pack up your whole family and go home. And if you're a parent of a child where this is a pretty common occurrence, they get overwhelmed by busy environments, people talking, crowded situations, unpredictable settings, any changes in their routine, then you're pretty familiar with this kind of meltdown. And maybe you're so familiar that you've already started avoiding parties and group gatherings and whatnot altogether. If this is you, I want you to be able to have what I'll call a battle plan for going into busy and unpredictable situations with a child who maybe has some oversensitivities to light, sound, busyness, unpredictability, all those things that you've come to know are triggers for your child. And we'll look at it from a sensory perspective because it really is sensory overload. There's too much noise, there's too much movement, there's just too many things happening at once that are out of your child's comfort zone, and your child really doesn't know how to adapt efficiently in this environment because it's not something that happens very often. They're typically, one-off events or events that are mainly happening around the holidays, and they lead to your child feeling very stressed and disorganized and unsafe. And maybe your other experience is that your child really sticks right next to you, doesn't want to leave your side. You can't have a conversation with the other people at the holiday party, all because your child is really not feeling comfortable, safe, and secure in what should be a really fun experience. So when we think about our battle plan, we're going to look at it like we would look at a really comprehensive sensory diet. Now, a sensory diet has tools in your toolbox, but also planned things throughout the day or the week that help you feel more comfortable, more regulated, and emergency plans, because only you know how much your child can tolerate before it becomes too overwhelming and a meltdown is the next thing on the list. So let's think about this for a minute. The first thing that you should do when putting together this battle plan is make sure that your child gets lots of time outside or doing things that are naturally regulating. Now, the key words here are rhythm, pressure, and respiration. So things like linear movement, going on a bike ride, using a scooter, going on a trampoline, going down the slide a whole bunch of times, swinging back and forth in rhythm. All of those are movement type activities that help a child feel more calm and organized because the movement is linear, it's rhythmic, and a lot of those options give also pressure to the body through the muscles and the joints. The second thing is that you need to pack an on-the-go bag. Now, what does that mean? It's a bag that you fill with things that are calming or regulating for your child. Now, for some children, that just might be a quiet activity like coloring, but for other children, they might need an actual tool that helps them to be able to breathe or helps them get pressure into their body to calm down. So you might think of packing maybe some bubbles so that you can go outside and take a break from the crowd and do some bubbles in the yard. You might think of packing other kinds of blow toys. There's plenty of different options at Amazon. Maybe pack their favorite animal or a weighted animal, something that is kind of heavy but squishy at the same time. Kids who really crave pressure and heavy or resistive kinds of activities need something different in their on-the-go bag than the child who needs to really focus on breathing. Because not every child is able to breathe or blow bubbles or make their mouth do things that are naturally effective for breathing out and taking deep breaths. You might also in this on the go bag pack a preferred kind of game that the child can play with cousins or the other children that might be at the gathering. And in this way, if they're feeling uncomfortable about the social piece, you can maybe help facilitate setting up of a game that is something that they know, they don't have to learn, and that other kids can sort of join in with. Now, the third thing is make your safety plan. And what I mean by that is your battle plan is what can I do before and around or leading up to the event that's going to help my child be regulated? What can I take with me that's going to help my child be calm and regulated when they need to regroup and recover? And then when we look at the safety plan, we're looking at tolerance and safe spaces for your child to go to. Maybe this isn't a gathering that you can stay at for 5 or 6 hours. Maybe you know that your child's tolerance is only an hour or two. Maybe you know that your child's tolerance is only one part, like the part where everyone's sitting down for the meal, not the part where everyone is, running around crazy and the kids are all chasing each other. If you know that, then you can plan when your arrival and departure times are to make the most of the time that you have. Some kids even just do better going a little bit earlier before everyone gets there, so they're not walking into a crowd, but the crowd is gradually building the longer that they're there. You know your child best, so I encourage you to try to figure out what those specific time and tolerance strategies are, and then make a plan to go to the event with those strategies in mind and apply them as you need based on how the event is going. As far as the safety piece goes, one really important thing is to make sure that wherever you're going for this gathering, whether you're hosting it at your own house or you're going to someone else's house, there should be safe spaces, quiet spaces, places you can go with your child to use the tools in the on-the-go bag that are calming. Maybe there's a bedroom that's available to you where you could play music that your child likes and do some coloring. Maybe it's going on a walk in the backyard and blowing bubbles at the same time. Maybe it's just going back onto the back porch and blowing bubbles and just being in a quiet space away from everyone else so that your child has time to regroup and recover before going back into the room. Now, as adults, we do this all the time, right? We figure out what events are going to be okay for us, which ones we'd rather not attend, which ones are going to be too loud or too busy. Maybe you're not the rock concert kind of person. Maybe you're really more of a hiking kind of person. We all have our leisure preferences based around what our sensory systems can tolerate. And you might not have even really thought of it that way, but we really build our lives around our sensory preferences and experiences, and then choose how much time we spend in each of those kinds of activities so that we don't get stressed out and overwhelmed. And when we don't make those decisions, that is exactly when we get stressed out and overwhelmed. So take that thought and apply that to your own child who may be a bit more sensitive or have less tolerance than you do for these types of gatherings. Not everyone is a social butterfly. If you're an introvert, maybe you can identify. Be respectful of your child's sensory experience, and then do a couple things to set them up for success. Make your battle plan, make your safe places, plan out the time and the activities that you are going to participate in over the holidays so that your child can feel successful and start building up positive memories around the holiday times instead of always anticipating negative events where they know that they're going to feel upset and uncomfortable and overwhelmed. Those are my tips for the holiday season so that you can get through to the other side and hopefully have some time with your family where you're not always on edge trying to figure out what's going to make your child most comfortable in the moment or worrying when the meltdown is going to happen. I'm Aubrey Schmalley. I'm a pediatric sensory OT. I hope you liked this video. If you did, hit the like button, share it with other parents who you think might benefit, and watch out for my videos coming up over the next couple months to help you survive the holidays and get into the new year.